Hello everybody, I'm trying something different today. I'm using my new camera that Louis and Ben gave me for my birthday, which is a Sony RX100. I haven't got it set up on a tripod or anything, so I'm having to bend down to get into shot. I've been fiddling around for so long, I just thought, well, I'll just get on with it before the battery dies. We've been out today doing some video shots of some land that Louis asked me to have a look at, and I don't think it's suitable, but there is an auction. I've noticed actually, since I've been doing vlogs, that I do that a lot, where there's words where you're supposed to say an, which is for people whose English is not their first language. The rule is before a vowel. And when I'm actually talking, a lot of the time I say auction. What am I like? Anyway, what I'm going to talk about today is not actually how I'm feeling at the moment, but it was how I was feeling the other day. I woke up feeling really angry. And I was thinking, okay, I've got to work out why this is, but I just felt really furious about lots of things. And I took some notes, and what I realised is I usually feel angry when I feel robbed in some way. And I know I keep banging on about this, but a few months after we came back from Brazil, I know that it's a normal part of the culture shock re-entry thing to suddenly find yourself getting really, really angry. But I went through this time, well, I hit a moment when I was the angriest I've ever felt, and it actually made me roar. It's like this roar, that's all I can describe it as, came out. Terrified Darcy, she ran up to her room. Thought I was having a nervous breakdown, I think. I was just so angry about this one situation where I just felt really robbed. I felt like we'd poured so much of ourselves into this project, and somebody was just like, oh no, I don't think we'll carry this on, or something like that. I can't remember, I've kind of like put it behind me now. Yeah, it was a real sense of being robbed, that everything we had poured in was just about to amount to nothing. And I think the other day I felt really angry because I felt like my boundaries had been crossed. And the trouble with boundaries is, unless you set them very clearly for other people, they don't really know where they are and don't know where to not cross them. So you have kind of got to take charge of things for yourself, and also it's important for yourself so that you can recognise when other people are crossing your boundaries, because it's going to happen without you even recognising it if you're not clear where your boundaries are. And then of course some people do manipulate, so you do have to be very vigilant about your boundaries. So at the beginning of the day, the other day, I woke up feeling really, really good. I felt like all the kind of foundational areas of my life were really healthy. I watched one of Hazel Hayes' time of the month videos, I think it's either January or February, I'm pretty sure it was the January one, where she was talking about those areas being what she called pillars in her life. So like your physical health, your mental health, different things like that. And I would say mine are definitely that: physical health, mental health, kind of relationships, community, friendships kind of thing. Provision for your basic needs, roof over your head, enough money for food. For me, if I've got those 4 things in place, then that's the starting point from which I can then go on and build something and create something and do something purposeful with my life. So I was at that point and I thought, yeah, now I can go ahead and build and do something creative today. And then a couple of situations popped up where my boundaries kind of got crossed by other people, and I felt like hijacked, and it just made me feel really angry. And I hadn't really noticed that that's what had happened. I just felt this anger. I heard somebody say recently that life is not a journey, it's a process. But I think it's both. And the other day when I was taking notes, I had just read a post by Corinne Bailey Ray, and I'll just read it. At times in my life, I've been so focused on the future and my plans and dreams so focused on the future and my plans and dreams that I haven't noticed life happening around me. It's so easy to hold our happiness away from ourselves, waiting for the perfect job, the perfect partner, this imagined perfect life. Stop Where You Are, this is a song that she's written, is about living in the present, is about being present. It's about recognising and ritualising the moment and celebrating where you are right now. And I think that describes both a journey and a process. And I can see that my battery is just about to die any second. I've worked with IT software for the last 25 plus years, and within that you have lots of tools and management tools, and one of those is Microsoft Project. And basically what you do is you have an end goal in mind, and you break it down into milestones, and you break those sections before the milestones into tasks. And there's also a critical path, which means you've got to have certain tasks done before you can go on to the next section. You've got to have them all done by this milestone. So for example, you wouldn't be able to put the roof on a house before you've built the walls. The other day, in the comments of my fear video, somebody wrote that they had a fear of running out of time. But the cool thing about project management software is you put in all these different tasks and you estimate the time, and then if the time that you take to do individual tasks is different, when you put the actual time in, then your end goal will either come nearer or it will move further away. And there's different things you can do to strategize against that. You can suddenly throw more manpower at something. At any given point, you're kind of like in that moment. What was it she called her song? Stop Where You Are. So every now and then you would assess your project, and where you are is fine for where you are. You might have deadlines for projects because, you know, like it might be a project of infrastructure for the Olympic Games or something like that, so you've definitely got to have it done by a certain time. But things in your own life is not necessarily that there are very tight deadlines. So as long as you're keeping going and progressing and going through those tasks and you've broken it all down, then you can just enjoy being there at that moment and not feel like, oh, but I haven't reached the end goal yet. You can just think, yeah, but you know, this is where I'm meant to be. I'm meant to be at this particular milestone, or I'm meant to be 3/4 of the way through this list of tasks or something like that. And you can just embrace the unexpected things that have happened, because they could lead to other things, new things that you've learnt, new skills that you've learnt, problem solving, or you know, having to learn a new skill in order to overcome something. You're always going to learn something. Maybe your boundaries were crossed, maybe you were robbed. Yeah, so the battery died. I've plugged it in now. I need to get a spare battery, and I need to get a battery charger. Anyway, as I was saying, you know, it could be that your boundaries have been crossed, it could be that you have been robbed, but you've got to learn for the future from those situations. Wherever we are today is where we are today, and we can just really enjoy that. I remember when we were in Brazil, there were some like really dark moments, probably just how I was feeling emotionally. You know, there probably wasn't really any particularly bad things going on, but I felt like in a dark moment. But I could take hold of little things like a plant in our backyard, or a hummingbird coming up to the hummingbird feeder, and just really enjoy that, or just enjoying being alive and that I could breathe, that we had a roof over our head, that we had food to eat, even if I had bought it with our credit card and that bill was mounting up. But there was joyful things that I could focus on. Anyway, back to anger. So what I was thinking the other day was I angry because I wasn't near enough my goal, that I wasn't where I wanted to be? And then what I thought was, no, what it is I'm in a situation that hasn't been my choice. Obviously there are inevitable things that are going to happen, but that's what you've got to do then. You've got to recognise your emotions and think, right, I'm angry, oh, it's because I'm in a situation that's not my choice. What happened? How can I learn from this? Is it because other people are imposing their expectations on you? And then you can think, that's their expectations, and you can set it aside and they just kind of, your emotions are like signals to kind of like go, oh, something's up, what's going on. But a really interesting thing is that's all from the notes that I jotted down the other day as I was processing all this. But then I looked up the definition of anger in Wikipedia, and the whole thing about boundaries, that's exactly what it said. And I don't know if I've ever read that before and subconsciously kind of absorbed it, or whether I was just analysing it correctly. Anger or wrath is an intense emotional response. It is a normal emotion that involves a strong, uncomfortable and emotional response to a perceived provocation. Often it indicates when one's personal boundaries are violated. It wasn't a good idea starting to film a video with my camera not charged up. Anyway, so take 3. I was reading out this Wikipedia definition of anger, and I was just so amazed to say often it indicates when one's personal boundaries are violated. I was thinking, well, yeah, that's exactly what I thought. It also says anger may be utilised effectively by setting boundaries or escaping from dangerous situations. I don't think I'm in a dangerous situation, but it has made me think, right, okay, what boundaries do I need to be very clear about, and what situations do I need to get out of? Anyway, I hope I can piece together these different clips, and I think the sound will be very good on this. I don't know what the visuals will be like. I didn't like sort my makeup out and put beautiful lighting up or anything like that. But I hope you've enjoyed another kind of venting about a particular emotion. See you next time.